What's up, everybody? Ryan the Mighty Quinn here on the Cornerman _MMA. Hope all is well. Little updates. So we've been dedicating this channel strictly to, well, not strictly, but mostly to the disconnect between MMA judges and fans, fight camps, meaning coaches and fighters alike. We're gonna start segueing out of that. We did good work there. I learned a lot. A lot of fans told me they learned a lot. The 100 or so of you that have watched on the videos. Oh, before I forget, speaking of fans, please like, subscribe, and share. I always forget that. But so here's what I'm thinking now. We're gonna start going into. We're gonna do a live. We're on. I'm thinking Tuesday afternoons. We're gonna go live on my lunch break, which is most people's lunch breaks on the East and Central Coast, like 12:30, 1 o'clock. A short podcast, short form podcast, maybe 35, 45 minutes, just catching up on stuff that's going on in the mixed martial arts world. And I'm gonna have it, like I said, I'm gonna have it live, so we're gonna have fan interaction. Gonna be a lot of fun, I think. So I'm looking forward to something's gonna be nice to do on my lunch break. But right now I want to get into something, and I purposely waited a little while to get into this, about Ronda Rousey's comments recently on her YouTube page on the comparison between mixed martial arts, between UFC fans and WWE fans. I purposely waited because I saw a lot. I wanted to see the fan reaction to it, and I was not surprised. They did not disappoint. UFC fans belittled her. Oh, you ran to WWE, blah blah blah. You got knocked out. You're not on the. And honestly they validated exactly what she said. But I didn't want to give in too much to what I was going to say on that before I read the comment out loud. Now, there's a lot here I want to get into. So this was her comment. A lot of UFC fans are kind of like bandwagon fans in that way. The second you're not on top, you're dead to them. Where WWE fans are like, this guy that did this 20 years ago, I don't see UFC fans having the same respect for people that got the sport to where it is as WWE fans. I'm not saying, okay, now, right there, I saw a lot of mixed martial arts news outlets, they cut it off there, which, all right, so now here's what she said, the rest of it. I'm not saying it's completely absent. I'm just saying I see more respect for legends in WWE fans than UFC fans. There's exceptions to everything. Now, I went into the fan reaction. Now, I want to get into another piece of it that made me think. I started thinking of fans in that category that she mentioned, or fighters and wrestlers in that category that she mentioned. This is going to be important here. So on the WWE aspect of that, here's how I came up with people from 20 years ago. Obviously, you got Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'm trying to think of people. I know there's some people that are still around. I'm trying to rely on those people that were active and big 20 years ago. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin. I have the list here. The Undertaker and Mankind. Kurt Angle. He had a little bit run after. Terry Funk was on the end there, but everyone knows Terry Funk. Hogan/Flair, 25 years ago. They kind of were around in the early 2000s, towards the end. Now, let's think of people on the UFC side 20 years ago, okay? Randy Couture, Forrest Griffin, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was like 15 years ago. Tito Ortiz, Tim Sylvia, Frank Trigg, those names, the Ken Shamrocks, Frank Shamrock, okay? These are big name people, world-class fighters, top 5% fighters, okay? Now, where was I going with this? So now, when we're thinking of those people, do you hear a lot of those names relevant today? No. Okay, let's take Ronda, for example. When I'm thinking of the greatest female fighter of all time, I'm thinking of Amanda Nunes. I think that every UFC fan is thinking Amanda Nunes. I don't think that that's out of the realm. I don't think that that's disputable at this point. But Ronda deserves to be in that category. Ronda had a very similar run that Amanda did. Amanda, she won the 2 belts, but Ronda Rousey got women's mixed martial arts on the map, so she deserves to be in that realm of greatest of all time. Now, when you go to the WWE aspect, it's kind of a mix, but it usually falls between John Cena, who's more relevant, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, why am I saying these comparisons? Because UFC fans, similar to what Ronda said, you forget about how dominant Ronda was. At the time, yes, we found out later that her striking wasn't that strong, but at the time, nobody could figure her out, and she had heavy hands. Um, Now, when you think of on the WWE, on the UFC side, I mean, no, sorry, WWE side, Stone Cold Steve Austin's still in that name. Stone Cold Steve Austin is still relevant. He's still like, he's a legend. He's without a shadow of a doubt the greatest professional wrestler of all time now. Um, I'm sorry. To me, that's my opinion. Actually, it's Vince McMahon's opinion as well. If you go back and see when Stone Cold was inducted, but John Cena, I spoke with Stevie Richards about this. John Cena has the draw power. Actually, John Cena, he stunts everybody when it comes to draws. So technically, on paper, it's John Cena, but um, we're not going to get into that. It's an MMA page. We're not going to get into that. So I think that. You get where I'm going with this. And like on top of that, so uh, that's where I'm getting with where fans don't remember. Fans do not remember in UFC like they do in WWE. It's plain and simple. Now we're not talking pro wrestling fans and MMA fans. I mean, there are some legitimate MMA fans that just respect the legends, like the Boss Rutens that I think like. I'm a huge Boss Ruten fan. Those of you who don't know who Bosch Rutan is, you might be a UFC fan and not mixed martial arts fan. So keep that in mind. Now, like WWE fans just do remember better. I mean, look, let's see now. All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it here. It's not really just the fans' fault that the UFC fans don't remember. It's the promotion itself. Look at these names I mentioned. Okay, these guys right here: Randy Couture, Tito Ortiz, Tim Sylvia, Frank Shamrock. They have beef with Dana White. They have beef with the UFC. So they're purposely forgotten about. They're purposely shoved in the back room. Now, I mean, Tito Ortiz, he was even taken out of the record books as far, I believe it was takedowns or title defenses at one point, and there was a big scrum about that on Twitter. So I mean, could you imagine if Major League Baseball got mad at Ken Griffey Jr. and they just erased his MVP awards? That's what the UFC does. So the UFC they do everything they can to take people out of their website, out of their rankings, out of their stats. So it's not really the UFC fans' fault that people are forgotten about. The UFC is trying to make it that way. Where in WWE, let's see. I mean, okay, Ultimate Warrior is a prime example, and Bret Hart. They had beef with Vince McMahon, major beef with Vince McMahon in the WWE. Nobody forgot about them. Everyone knew who they were. They didn't leave the highlight reels for WrestleMania, for the most part anyway. So that's something to keep in mind here. I don't know. I feel that at the end of the day, in my opinion, Ronda was absolutely right. Ronda was right. I mean, UFC fans, they forget. It's what have you done for me lately type sport. Conor McGregor kind of changed things. He's going to be a namesake for a while. I feel like, I always feel like Randy Couture was like our Sting. He was just durable. He's always been there. Always been in big fights. He's not our Steve Austin. He's on that level of top tier Mount Rushmore fighters. And he doesn't get credit for that. UFC doesn't like him. UFC don't like him. So that's how I feel there. I feel that UFC fans do forget, like they are "what have you done for me lately" type deal. Where WWE fans are loyal, they're always going to remember. I mean, just look. I mean, on Raw, they're doing a 25th year anniversary for DX, who hasn't been around in a while. I know Shawn Michaels and Triple H obviously still kind of in the mix, but they brought back the Road Dogg and X-Pac. I didn't see Billy Gunn in the pictures. I was wondering where he was, but. Yeah, I mean, those are just comparisons. You can name a bunch more. Please comment it below. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm wrong. I really want to engage with you guys. Like, subscribe, and share. Start seeing you in the afternoons. Thanks, and have a good one. Bye.